It's a little cranky.
That's our official tape, though.
Okay.
All set.
Okay, it's on now.
I'd like to call the regular monthly meeting of the Bristol Development Authority for Monday, August 22nd. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. He had his hand up, sorry. I'd call the meeting to order. Public participation. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to address the BDA? Please do so now. And if you state your name and address for the record, please.
Sean Ress, 53 Lancaster Road. I just have a couple questions, and it relates to the HUD's new rule. I'm curious, in 2010, the DEC received a community challenge grant application, which included a $3 million planning and environmental review study for the 17-acre abandoned mall site for an intermodal transportation center. Did the city get that grant, or was that grant used on behalf of the CCRPA for that parcel?
Well, I can't answer that.
Yeah, I think what happened was that was it CCRPA or NVCOG?
It was before NVCOG.
It was before.
It was
Okay, so I
2010, so.
All right. Well, probably can't speak to that, but what I would think it was is that each year the COG requests of all of its member cities.
Excuse me, would you tell us what COG is for the record?
COG are like the regional councils of government. COG is Council of Government. Each year they ask their member municipalities for a list of large-scale projects that should stay on the COG's radar if funding becomes available, and that might have been where that came from, but I can't be sure.
And then just through the chair, because it was the BDDC, I believe.
Back then.
It wasn't us. I'm not familiar with
Dawn, you're not familiar with any of this. So I guess we have to take your question as somebody who can answer it from the BDDC, because we didn't get the money, did we?
Not that I know of.
The DDA did not
And
get
it could have
the
been a
money.
city-initiated
Right.
request, but we could look into that, Sean.
Just so we can do it.
Is it possible too that maybe the request was done on behalf of the city of Bristol by the CCRPA, and the CCRPA did the environmental review, or do we have an environmental review somewhere on record?
The city back in 2005, I believe, did an environmental review of the property. It could have been through the BDDC, I'm not sure. And we could look for that. We're actually looking for that now.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll just leave it.
Yeah, we'll check into that, Sean.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to participate? Can you give your name, please, and address for the record?
Yes, Catherine Telfer, 76 Chestnut Street. I'm not too familiar about everything that's going on. I'm kind of new to it. I'm trying to observe and just see things going on. I guess my concern is enveloping everyone, just encompassing everyone in Bristol, the residents, and then the subgroup of all the neighbors that are in that residence that the development or redevelopment is going to be going on. To me, it would have to be something for everyone. I don't know if you're trying to attract just Bristol residents or out-of-towners, but you can't leave that neighborhood. I don't know what the average, household income is in Bristol, but I'm sure within that subgroup of that surrounding area there, I don't see the disposable income as being, really high, probably on the low side. So I'm just wondering what attractions you're trying to get, what people you're trying to get to come down to that walkability, throughout the center of town there. And I know the firm that you're using, I'm hoping that they have the citizens of Bristol in their best interest. I know you tried using for the crumb rubber, that was denounced, and that was shot down, but they thought that was in the best interest of the Bristol residents, and it wasn't. So I'm wondering and questioning if this is all still in their best interest of all the residents. Thank you.
Well, Justin, since you're part of the downtown committee, I think you can address that we're trying to encompass all.
Yeah, for sure. And Mickey, you could chime in, and John, but the downtown committee is made up of members of this board, and for sure we all live here. we're looking to represent the entire community, and to your point, folks from all different income levels, walks of life. We want to get the entire community down there, and that's really part of our effort to market the site to different developers. Is developers understand, what they're working with, both, in close proximity to the site, and then in other areas of the town as well. So hopefully we can get in a development that, as you point out, is sort of wide-ranging, that hits on all different segments of the population. It's a good point.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
If I may, ma'am, have you had a chance to fill out the survey?
No, I haven't.
Okay, maybe we can give
Good
that.
idea.
Yeah, I was just going to mention it. So there's a site called bristolcentersquare.com/survey. And so that's something you do online. There's also, and it'll be posted, they just did it over the weekend on Saturday, they're doing what they call these visioning, where you can come and even meet with those folks. So we've been saying all along, consider yourself asked. We really want public participation, and we're trying to find ways to do that. So being online is very easy. Having these locations, we're even going to be putting things in the library. So I want to thank you, though, but thank you for taking the time to come here and voice your opinion.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion will be in order to approve the minutes of the July 25th meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence, communications, letter from HUD, release of funds approved.
Motion to file.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board of Finance transfer request for CDBG.
Motion to place on file. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Do we have to?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry. Just discuss. Do we have to authorize a transfer request?
Yeah, we're going to do that as a business.
Okay.
It's just for correspondence.
Sorry. Motion to file.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business by staff. Board of Finance transfer request for CDBG.
Sorry. I didn't realize that. One or the other.
This request is to transfer $50,000 from single rehab into multi-rehab and to set up an account for fees paid to the city clerk under the rehab program.
Through the chair, just why? Just an explanation of why are you moving from single to multi? Just
We, when we're budgeting, we have everything in single at the beginning of the year, and then we,
as the okay.
as
The
needed.
the policy committee
Thank you.
reviewed this also. It opens up more of a market for multifamily. No?
When?
Charlie?
When?
What do you mean when?
When did the policy committee meet?
Well, that was a long time ago.
Okay.
Wasn't that? When we decided that we were going to present transfer into, oh no, this is the other
I
program.
think it's a standard.
This is the other program,
Yeah.
sorry, you're right. It's the other program we talked about but didn't approve yet.
This is from a budgeting perspective.
Yeah.
It's the way Debbie's handles it
Thank
year
you.
over year.
Commissioner. I'm getting old. You want to read the motion? Would someone read the motion, please? You have it? Here, read it.
Sorry. Motion to approve the following transfers within CDBG accounts: $50,000 from single rehab 2016 to multi-rehab 2017, and $1,000 from professional fees admin to a new account, professional fees rehab.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, thank you. Old business by staff? Excuse me, new business by commissioners?
None.
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 Chair has none, thank you. Old business by staff, program updates, Debbie?
On the CDBG program, I'm finishing the caper for the year that ended June 30th this year. I'm working on subrecipient agreements for the new year for the programs that we have operating throughout the year. And I'm setting up the new projects that are going to be happening during this new year, which are a round of Summer Street sidewalks, upgrades to the kitchen at Komenetsky Estates, flooring replacement at Lake Avenue Park, and an ADA compliant door at the Historical Society. We'll be probably coming back to make some policy committee recommendations for about $75,000 that is uncommitted, or that's going to be uncommitted.
And when are these funds to be expended, in this coming fiscal year?
The
Reprogram those funds? Or is
We're
those-
going to reprogram that
Okay.
amount of money, or commit it to an activity, and we'll have to discuss it
Yep.
on a C committee level.
Any questions of Debbie? Motion be in order to accept your report.
Motion to.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I guess we have to listen to our
Yep.
exalted leader.
Well, I want to apologize first. I've been including my updates in hard copy form in your packets during my time in this position. I just got back from some time off, like a week and a half, and getting out, I just didn't have time to get it in there, but I want to update you verbally tonight on some of the stuff we've been working on. Again, I've been out for a little while, but prior to my departure, I want to talk about a couple of things. The first is, and I know that it was in the media, I think it was in the media, we gave out 5 economic development grants, or we are in the process of doing that. The City Council approved it back earlier this month, and I just want to talk a little bit about these. I know that we've talked about them over the last few months, but the numbers are more solidified now. But basically what's going on is that we gave out almost or approximately $500,000 in grants to 5 companies. Those companies will bring in nearly $200,000 a year in tax revenue to the city of Bristol. That's on the low side. It will only go up from there. And again, on the low side, about 300 full-time positions. So, and many of those positions are going to be located downtown. So, some pretty nice benefits there. Nice return on our investment, I think, for that particular program. So, Faneuil, that particular project stands out. That's up to it's 250, but most likely above that. Folks coming downtown to work. Initially, I think it's about 150 initially employees, and of that, 120 are customer care reps that make about, once they go through the training, $13 an hour. But then that's 120 folks, and there's like 30 folks who are sort of like middle managers and management that are making from $40,000 a year on up to, I was told, $85 a year. So that alone is a nice influx of those types of positions downtown, and that's how this starts, right? That's how downtown development is going to start. You need those dominoes to fall. You need to attract the attention of developers, whatever they're looking to develop, and that amount of employees every day does. And they're looking at, again, those are positions that can help, I think, most in the community, right? There's those positions that might need advanced degrees, etc. But then there's the positions for folks, without those degrees, but that still want to work in that type of environment and work hard and, enjoy a full-time job here in Bristol. So that's a nice project.
I have a question on that. When
yeah.
are those jobs going to start? When are they going to open?
Well, they've done a couple job fairs already.
I saw that.
Yeah.
When are they expected to be
They're-
in business in Bristol?
They're expecting to open within the next couple of months. Real soon. What it is Faneuil is a provider of customer call centers, and they work on behalf of larger clients, right? At the moment, I don't think anything's changed over the last couple of weeks, but they have a client that has not given them the authority yet to announce who they're working for, but when they do, that'll be a big splash, and we'll promote that, and the positions will become available.
Just through the chair. So what we're taking advantage of at Bristol, what's good for Bristol here is a lot of companies are realizing that they need to move call centers back to the U.S. I mean, any one of us have had some type of experience where we've sat back and said, wow, we really had a hard time communicating. Well, businesses are realizing that. So they're bringing call centers back to the U.S. What makes this interesting is they're in Connecticut, because a lot of these call centers are in Utah and different things. So it is really a good plus for Bristol.
Faneuil's looking to establish a Northeast New England presence. Thankfully they found us, and we started discussions with them, 6 months ago perhaps. And one of the things that we talked about were, in years past, there's been large call centers, whether it's the insurance industry or elsewhere, that have closed.
Simsbury.
Bristol, and then of course, Simsbury comes to mind. I believe the Hartford was out there. That means there's a lot of talented folks in the area that have done that for years that probably want to get back into it, and they like that. So we're really optimistic about that project. Another thing real quick, BDA marketing, I know that's always something that we talk about here is we're working on a radio script spot. We have a voiceover talent that we're working with, and for our first spot, it'll be about 30 seconds, I think, Kristen, or maybe up to a minute, actually up to 60 seconds, but we're going to do like a testimonial flavor. So we're going to have Uniprop, Glenn Couch from Uniprop, Debbie Lombardo from BBU, or someone from BBU, it might be Debbie's daughter, and Gary from GMN are going to give their thoughts on how easy it was to do business with us. And we'll sort of try that out, get the word out in a different way. I don't think you hear that a lot from municipalities. We'll use our marketing budget just a little differently this year to see how, what results we get from it. So that's in the process. Kristen was working on that last week.
Through the year, where will it air?
Well, we don't know yet. Kristen was working on that last week. We're receiving bids from a couple different radio stations. We're trying to spread, I guess, the demographics. We're going for the, stations with maybe some younger listeners and then some older listeners, and try to spread it out a little bit. We did it with Start at Bristol last year, and it worked out pretty well.
You said older listeners, he turns around and looks at me.
Yeah. So we'll experiment. Bring your ideas for that. If you have something that we might not think of. It worked well with Start at Bristol last year. We had a nice response with that. So we'll try it just in general for the BDA. Then, just before I get out of here, the Start at Bristol is back. Again, something we're ramping up, and we'll start that in the next few months. September, I think we'll look to have some sort of kickoff of that, but that'll be back, and we'll promote that again in the same fashion. And just the idea is to just get the word out, whatever, just hit people over the head with the fact that Bristol is doing things from an economic development perspective, and spread the good word.
Any questions, Justin?
Just any update on the existing startup Bristol?
We talked with Asarazi. You mean the companies?
Yes.
We talked with Asarazi maybe 2 weeks ago. It was before I left, 2-3 weeks ago. And they're running at full speed ahead, still looking for space. Kristen's working on that. Literally, I'm not kidding. Maybe I thought I might get asked this question. I'm not sure. But I reached out to Crust and actually just heard back from them. And we're going to talk later this week to continue that sort of search for them as well. I have the text. I can prove it. I have the text.
Motion be in order to accept the director's report.
So move.
Second. You have a second? Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Old business by commissioners, starting on my left.
None.
None. None.
None.
Chair has none. Committee reports. Downtown committee, who's going to report on that? Justin?
Big one.
Yeah, we just met last week. Just the most important things are the Bristol Hospital is moving forward. So there's two things that are running in conjunction. You have the Bristol Hospital, plus you have the consultants' work that's being done. We alluded to it before. They are going full blast on this survey. Again, bristolcentersquare.com/survey. They're really trying. We're starting to see some of the results coming in from that. They've been doing a lot of other research. They are looking at, it's a combination of things. Research that had been done in the past, comparing it to new data that's coming in now, doing basically, cost, I'll call it a SWOT, where you're looking at what are the advantages of the site, what are some disadvantages of the site, so advantages of the site, it's a blank canvas. Some of the weaknesses might be, the pitch and how they account for that, and walkability and things like that. So that's all being gathered. So those are really the two big things that are happening with the downtown.
Is that link posted on the city's website and the BDA website?
It's supposed to be.
What's that?
Link
The
to the
survey
survey.
link.
I don't, yeah, we have it on the homepage actually, on the city site.
Okay.
We did.
Just, do you guys have like a stack of those cards? 'Cause I think we all kind of hit different demographics. We could probably hand them out and get.
The center square one.
You have
I
it?
can run
Yeah.
upstairs and grab more, we have plenty.
Yeah.
I can go after this one. That's right.
And so you saw we did get some coverage from both the Bristol Observer, same thing were there, and the Bristol Press had something again alluding to that. So again, as far as, they're looking at the site, what are the, opportunities there, so that they can best recommend how it can be used.
I have a
So
question, were they at the Rockwell Festival?
they were, that was the second, they call it their visioning.
Yeah.
And so that was number 2. They had done one prior, and they were there on Saturday.
And just at the staff level, so you know, we're obviously always working in closely with Malone and with the hospital. There was a meeting that I could not attend, I wasn't here, last week, specific to talking about roadways, engineering issues, that kind of thing. So that's this type of stuff that's ongoing that we'll bring to the, the downtown committee and to the board and to eventually city council.
Questions?
Just one more, are they going to be at the Mum Fest? Is that their third?
I'm not sure. I don't,
They're
yeah.
looking at additional
Okay.
sites, and
Okay.
they did bounce around the Mountain Festival. I don't know if the decisions were made on it, but
Yeah.
they want to go where the people are, and so that's why they were there on Saturdays. So it's something we need to just confirm with them, but that is a good place for them to be.
Motion being ordered to accept the report of the downtown committee.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Marketing committee?
So the big thing with the marketing committee is we continue, as we've said in the past, we're now moving it, originally it was a joint effort between the city and the chamber, and now that we know that it's, it's become popular and things like that, we are still working out the plans to move it completely into the city. We own the URL, the city, when I say we, the city owns the URL, and again, a transition plan is in place that just needs to be signed off of.
That was confirmed from the last meeting.
Correct.
That's a good news.
And just so you know, the city council did approve the contract extension with the chamber through the end of September. And then we have a vendor now, the city does, a web vendor called A Squared Studios out of Middletown. It all comes full circle, right?
Certainly does.
That will be handling basically the acceptance of the portal from the chamber and then maintenance and hosting moving forward. And that was a big thing for us, getting that chamber, or getting the website locked down, safe and sound here in our hands.
When I comment about that, they were one of the original people that put an RFP in when we were looking for the vendor to create the portal. So what goes around comes around.
Yeah, right.
And then certainly the most important part is, one, continuity will continue, that the programs will continue, and that everything that we're doing will be transparent to the public. In other words, there will be no downtime. There will be the programs will continue, but be under the BDA.
It's just kind of a different look. Our job is to figure out how to get there, but obviously the goal is to keep the program running, as Mickey said, and that's what we plan to do.
Questions of the commissioners? Motion be in order to accept the report of the marketing committee.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.